Oh, I was on mute. I was on mute. That's ghetto. Welcome, everybody. It's your girl, Stephanie T, with the Life School Podcast. And tonight, I just wanted to, spark a conversation about purpose and design. Purpose and design. So, I think it's a very important topic that we need to discuss because we see that in society has moved away from a lot of traditionalism and into this modernist, I believe even postmodernist social construct way of living, and got everybody confused, and we don't know up from down, left from right, man from woman, all this rigmarole. And for those that are seeking that that traditional love, or that original dynamic between a man and a woman, it just seems like it's the complaints is that it's getting harder. It's getting harder to find quality men. It's getting harder to find quality women. And I believe it is. But I mean, if you know how to look in the right places, if you know how to become that person first, I believe that, you're bound for success. You're going to meet her, you're going to meet him. And so I think that's very important because I'm on the conquest too, to find a good quality man. And I'm sure there's men out there looking for a good quality woman. And tonight I have a good friend of mine. His name is Carl, and I want to bring him in to the show tonight because I really value his outlook and his intelligence and on the dynamic of men and women. And I appreciate his viewpoint because it's so different, it's fresh, it's new from what we usually hear in these YouTube streets and these YouTube talking points. And sometimes you're like, well, does anybody have any insight or solution on anything? Okay. But I would like to bring him up, and I would just like you to give him a round of applause. I know you can't, I can't hear you do it, but give him a round of applause. His name is Carl Schaff. All right. Hi. You're on mute.
Okay, so how we doing, people? Salute.
Right. This is Carl Shaft. Introduce yourself.
This I'm just a regular schmegular. No, I'm called Shaft. Um, my background is basically observing people for the last 40 years through my type of work, from a law enforcement background as well as bodyguard background. So from diners to catering halls to parties, events, concerts. You get to observe people's behaviors, interactions, um, everything from a sweet 16 to a funeral to um, a wedding reception, repast. You get to see a whole dynamic of different backgrounds, whether they're Haitian, African, Jamaican, Hispanic, like, it doesn't matter. I get to absolve all of this and come up with a connect the dot, if you want to say, by mindset, pattern, and outcome of people. You understand? And of course, keeping up with the times of the masses. You know what's relevant, what's the latest hip thing, as they call it. You know what I'm saying? So when people started talking about, let's say, 50-50, since that became the most popular thing, I have to tune in and read about what is that? And the sim thing, same thing. So I keep up with like I said, the behavior, the mindset, the patterns of people, but I also keep intact with all the new verbiage that comes out as well. What it really means, where it comes from, and why are people attracted to it,
Okay.
the underlying.
That, that's a lot of work to do. And
Oh yeah,
but I guess
it's been
line of work, I mean, you're already vigilant with, looking at
yeah,
people, what they say,
it's
and
been
even
ongoing.
body language. Yeah. That's
It's an
good.
ongoing thing, daily, weekly, monthly. It's an ongoing thing. It's like being in. It's like Shade Room or TMZ. You got to stay on point. You have to be aware. You have to translate, and have reliable reference points, sources. You know,
Mhm.
yeah. It's sort
That's
of like that
interesting.
whole saying: if everybody tell you breast stink, they all can't be wrong. But you got 10 people on the same corner seeing the same car accident, but they got different versions. Well, you have to be the neutral person from the third floor looking down, observing those 10 people,
Right.
going into why they think the way they do, and so yeah.
All right. Well, to pick your brain, on IG, I often see you on a lot of panels, like a little four window panel, and you're like talking to like a vast amount of people, unruly people, very intelligent people, people that, got something, people that ain't got nothing. So,
Mhm.
but I do appreciate your viewpoint on purpose and design, like basically emphasizing a purpose and a design of how we interact with
Well,
one another. And
every
so,
man and every man and woman on this planet has a purpose and design.
right.
Everybody, we all have a purpose and design. It's another way of saying, as a man, your purpose is not to cross a certain boundary. As a woman, you shouldn't be crossing certain boundaries. So, ladies first,
All right.
the boundaries that women shouldn't cross over is your man shouldn't be sitting in the passenger seat of the car while you pumping gas. The
Mhm.
boundary is the man shouldn't be moving into your residence. You should be moving in his. The boundary is um, the man should be paying all of the bills and not 50-50 like a roommate. There's just certain things that
Ooh.
men should be doing and
Mhm.
women shouldn't interfere because what does it look like for a man to be raising a daughter and teaching her about her menstrual cycle when really that's a rites of passage that women handle with girls. Just like with the boy, I would be teaching the young man how to tie a tie. You understand? Or self grooming, including his pubic area. There's a whole lot of things that we should be left to the sexes that were designed and purpose for doing it. Rites of passage. You should respect that. So that's where that comes
Yeah. I mean, we strayed far from that, but I found a definition. Well, I thought it was kind of in line with how you word it.
from.
Let's see if I can move over to the next slide. All right. It's this is what I just found online. The definition of purpose and design. It says an important part of the definition of the word design is purpose. To
Mhm.
intend for a definite purpose, okay, is purpose. To intend for a definite purpose, to assign in thought or intention, a purpose or plan of action. Plan of action. Design
Mhm.
without purpose is design without meaning or intention. We
Right.
believe without a purpose, there is no design. And
So
I just,
for the
yeah, when I
modern
read
women,
that,
for
go
the
ahead.
modern women, that's like you being a boss, but you don't know what you're doing.
Mm,
You have no long term thinking. You don't have logic. So therefore, you're designed to be it's not a design. It's a want to be a boss, but you're not designed to be the boss. You're designed to be a manager because when a husband takes on a wife, the wife take on the role as a manager
mhm.
for the household, for the husband and everything, the day to day operations.
We have a comment in let me mute my silly. We have a comment by Embrace the Grace. This is my girl, Embrace the Grace. Okay, this is my girl.
Hey,
We create a lot of content together. And she says,
mhm.
I agree with you, Carl, but nowadays you need two incomes just to make it. There's nothing
That's
wrong
not true.
with working.
That's
Okay,
not
what
true
about
at all. You
yeah.
don't need two incomes to maintain in this world and this economy. The
Mhm.
problem that most black folks have is they don't know how to budget. You understand? There's a difference between struggling and maintaining. Uh, the person that's maintaining is very frugal with money. They know how to budget, and they more focused about what they need than what they want. If you don't know how to budget, you're really all about what you want and not what you need. You don't have long term thinking. So let's look at black folks right now. Take for the guys, for example, most of these guys don't even have life insurance. But
Mhm.
y'all sleep with them, you give them babies and all this other stuff. But because they do not know how to budget themselves, that leaves y'all women to budget for yourself as well. It's a disconnect.
Mhm.
This is why most of the women are out here doing GoFundMe on behalf of guys that are deceased because they didn't take inventory. Boom. So you don't need two income. The average person can survive the way it is right now. You get $20 an hour at McDonald's, you're close to past 50 grand a year if you do the math after taxes.
But I mean, say if you live okay, I live in a very expensive state. And you live in a very expensive state as well. Like, what do you suggest for a person that is in that situation looking to, maybe acquire a wife and should he downgrade or if she comes in, what if she doesn't mind working? I mean, does that stop
Well,
her from
a
money?
woman working when she's in a relationship with a man, they living together or married, is optional. The only
Okay.
time a woman has to work is because independently she has to work to maintain herself.
Mhm.
And if she already has children, the same. But once she enters the realm of a male responsibility, that male's responsibility is to take care of that woman. So her working or not is optional at that point because he's supposed to be paying all the bills. If he cannot, then he shouldn't be in a woman's face. He shouldn't be getting no sex. He shouldn't be doing nothing but building himself up to that criteria.
Yes, I believe that definitely a man should pre-relationship build
Hmm.
himself up because I think a lot of women's frustration sometimes, but it may not be a frustration. Like say
Mhm.
if
No, it is. You're right. You said it right the first time.
it,
Frustration.
it
A
could
lot of
be,
guys are not qualified.
yeah, and then we try to, be not catering, but we try to be
They'll try to
kind and say,
rationalize it.
yeah, we'll try to say in a kind way, well, hey, why don't you push yourself harder? Why don't you go do this? Why don't you go get that extra degree? Stuff like that. And so like I understand that the woman's intentions may be good, but it may come off as, mothering or nagging or
Well, that's the thing. The guys are taking advantage of the nurturing side of the woman. The nurturing side of the woman always enact to help and solve, but it takes her out of her purpose and design by saying, "Oh, let me help you get your CDL. Let me help you get through college. Let me help you." No, that's not the purpose
can
or
you
design.
can you do some of those? I mean, like, can you do those things in a marriage or say if like okay, now you want to embark on a new venture, like a business venture, right?
Oh,
You
okay?
have to
Well,
support your husband in that case. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's a different story. You and the guy is legally married,
right.
and y'all had a conversation, decide together to open up a restaurant. Then yes, at that point, both of you make the inputs necessary, logistically, financially, whatever, to get that business going.
Mhm.
Um, the same way independently, because I was on a live the other day where I had to explain to a brother and a young lady that yes, you can be legally married to each other and still have separate goals in life.
Mhm.
You want to do your beautician, or let's say you want to be a doctor, he want to be um um a basketball player. You understand? Y'all can have different, goals in life, but still maintain interdependency.
Right. And
There's nothing
communicate.
wrong with that. Of
I believe
course,
that
just
because, like,
communicate.
it gets so, like, disheartening when I do hear people, like, they do get into these like, not situations, they do get in relationships and then they say we grew apart. Like, well, I think if you just had the communication and communicated that with the person, I know some people they don't want to grow. That can hurt, but I know
And
that's not
it's enabling because again, a lot of people, believe it or not, and I see this more with the guys than with females, but I see it on both sides. They're trying to transfer what they're used to from their parents into their current relationship. So women are using whatever interaction they have with their father and transferring that into the men that they're sleeping with.
is that a bad thing if
It's
that's the
definitely, of
only
course, it's a
motivation?
bad thing, of course, because number one, your father ain't sleeping with you. So
Right.
the interaction that you have with your dad and why he go all out in his provisions and protection is not the same as a man that you're sleeping with. One has to, and one is doesn't have to, in a sense, because there's a conflict of interest.
Okay, then
Your-
so
your-
in okay, so in purpose and design as we're discussing, how does the father prepare his daughter to transition to be under the authority of a man or to how to govern herself around a man? How does he do that? Since it's she's
Right.
not sleeping with him, how can she transition to that new guy?
It's
Because
the
he gives you
hardest
away.
thing. It's the hardest thing to a man, but basically he has to be neutral enough and mature enough to get her to understand that even though I'm paying all the bills and taking care of you from birth, as you grow older, you're going to have to be prepared to be a wife. And I'm going to leave that up to your mother to teach you how to be a wife because that rites of passage goes along of her teach you how to cook, clean, and so forth. But at the same time, my job as your father would be, of course, give you the provisions of protection, but I'm teaching you about men, the
Mhm.
different subdivision, the different subdivision of men, how they think, how they work. But I'm also going to be more laid back and understand and get you to understand that my provisions is not the same as his provisions.
Okay.
Okay, my provisions is being responsible to you as my daughter. His
Mhm.
responsibility as far as his provision is because you're his woman you're sleeping with. It's two different things.
Mhm. I can say that
As
is
far
true.
as reason, yeah, it's two different things. You can't combine the two. You can't mix them up.
That's amazing. I think it's so important because it's like over the years we've seen how different movements and different ideologies, different viewpoints, mindsets have just really broken down the foundation of the family, you know. And
Hmm.
so like it seems we see the struggles of the men and the women and they're like there's pee everywhere. Like I said, piss in the pool, and like there's no
Hmm.
quality guys, you know. And I don't think it's evolution's here. Hi.
Yeah.
I don't think it's sometimes it may not be your fault until you wake up and realize, well, like, wow, I didn't have a good foundation from my mom or I didn't have a good foundation from my dad, or you know what I'm saying?
I,
So
I,
sometimes
I,
I
could,
feel bad.
I'm sorry. I could care less about the excuses. The bottom line still remains. Your father spent a significant amount of his life saving money, put money to the
But
side
but
for,
now
for
you know that
college.
majority of people do not have the fathers in the home, so you cannot
I,
necessarily say that that's most people's experiences.
no, I'm not. I'm only speaking to one section first. I could deal with the other section afterward. As far as what was design and purpose is concerned, the father, as he works and bills and take care of his responsibilities and obligations, his daughter or his son is a priority as well. So he's going to put money aside or put in for her college education. But at the same time, he's not going to enable her and don't tell her, hey, you need to go out there and work so that way you can take care of yourself. In other words, never interfere with a woman's independence.
Hmm.
You're supposed to contribute toward that. But at the same time, that's I'm not going for the excuses that okay, well,
What does a
my
woman's
pop,
independence look like? Does it look like she knows how to a mature independent woman knows how to be in her independence and also know how to turn it off and be interdependent with a man? Is that what you're saying?
right, right,
Okay.
right. She know when to and she know how to, because some people get stuck in being independent and they don't know how to be interdependent. And some people get so stuck in being spoiled, they don't want to do for themselves. They have an
Okay.
expectation, like I said before, they transferring whatever their mom and dad did or whatever they did when they was younger into their current relationship. Well, you're supposed to because my man did this for me. Well, then you need to go back to that dude. If that dude was doing this, that, and the third, then why you ain't with him no more?
Okay, now I think you're making you just went from dad and now to another man. Okay, like
But
you
see,
got
no, I'm showing you the difference between what is
hmm
the difference, like I said before, the difference between the father doing for his daughter versus a man.
right.
You understand? One is absolute and unconditional, and the other one, listen, I don't know too many men
So
that's going to
absolute
put
and
fifty thousand
unconditional.
dollars.
You're telling me if a woman transitions into a marriage, her husband's love is not unconditional?
It's not so much it's not unconditional. The father,
Got me
I'm
confused.
comparing it between a man and a father. Okay, a father, you're his daughter for life.
Okay,
How many divorces we have today?
a lot.
So you see where these divorced husbands and wives are doing right now? They're not obligated to interdepend with each other. They
Yes,
can
they
go
are.
about their business.
They are
Ooh.
obligated. They just haven't taken the the, the marriage, the institution seriously enough to make it work or to fight through whatever.
Once a person get divorced, they go about their business. Right or wrong?
Um, they can go about their business, but usually there's a trail of mess way all behind them. So we can't say people just
Regardless,
cut away, break
regardless.
away from stuff.
Once a divorce decree is signed and stamped, you're free to go about your business and do whatever you want as you did before
You
you
went
was
to the
married.
left. You went
I'm
to the left
I'm
with
saying that to lay the foundation for you to understand. Fathers don't have that option. Fathers don't have the option to divorce their daughters.
that. So why can't that aspect translate to marriage? Because from a biblical standpoint, you're supposed to leave your father and your mother and cleave to your wife. And you guys are supposed to become one essentially. So it's like you doing damage to yourself too by separating from your wife.
Well, that's the same as you saying that every man should be um, expecting that when they marry a woman, her father should be giving her away. A
Yeah.
lot of these women don't have fathers giving them away. A lot of men don't have the um, rites of passage to go to the father to ask for his, daughter's hand in marriage. In other words, what we're used to from before is
Yeah,
not
but you just
existing
made an
right now.
excuse. You just literally
No, I
sat
didn't
here.
make an excuse. What I'm saying
You
is
said,
that
okay,
things have
because the father's
changed.
absent. Okay, but that does not, just because the people have changed does not mean ordinances and principles change. That does not mean that that happens. So you're making an excuse and I'm making a way out for that guy because oh it's just easy to divorce just because that's what's happening now. No, that's why people just do it because they're just making excuses to get out from underneath the obligation and the serious obligation that they made.
You
Yes,
just
there's
made my point for me
how.
because purpose and
I said
design.
you told people that they should kind of just call it quits, and but I'm like, I'm not trying to let people call it quits based on if they didn't have a mom or dad. Is that what you said?
No, I would never say that. I wouldn't tell nobody call it quit. I
Hmm.
always believe that people need to realign, revise their approach, their thinking, and standpoint to get the better result, the outcome. If you want to be a doctor, well, you know what you need to do. You need to go online and learn what it takes to become a doctor, what credentials, and study hard and become that. Earn it. A lot of women, a lot of men, mostly, but a lot of women, nobody wants to earn anything because everybody thinks they're entitled.
Hmm.
They're entitled. Now, entitlement don't get you anywhere. Entitlement lets keeps getting you let down each and every time. Why? Because
So,
that's not purpose and design.
okay. So, do you think people are bringing it back, right? Are operating on entitlement, or they actually know their roles and purposes in a male, I mean, in the relationship dynamic?
It's all about convenience.
Okay.
Bottom line, it's all about convenience. If you're not getting nothing out of it, you're more concerned about what you're getting out of something than what you're putting in it. So how the hell do you think you're gonna make a savings account if you ain't put no money in to save up? But you expect money to be there at all times. It doesn't work like that. You have to earn, you have to work, you have to put in.
Okay.
And by purpose and design, the purpose of man is to be elected as leaders. They're not leaders just because they got a dick. They are leaders based upon what effort they put in to
Mhm.
earn it.
Okay.
And it's not just the physical, it's not just the money, everything.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, you can't be a leader and you're not healthy.
Right.
You can't run past 2 blocks. You can't even pick up your woman and carry her out of a fire. So how you a leader?
Okay. But
Come
we
on.
gotta make it easy for the guy, to carry us out. You gotta,
This this
slim
ain't
down, be
this
healthier.
this ain't about easy or hard. This is about being prepared for the responsibility of a relationship, a woman, a marriage. If you're not ready, don't get involved. Get ready first, then get involved. But if we
I
have enablers out here, we already see the outcome. Enabling these guys not to stand up, not
But Carl, how can
not
you blame them? They don't have their dads. Now, see, now they have their moms. They're having an effeminate type of perception indoctrinated into them of how to move in the world, and that's a totally different um mindset. That's a totally
I don't
different.
care. My father was an alcoholic. I don't drink.
Yes, but I'm saying
You
besides
can be
that.
different. You can be different from what your upbringing or your environment or whatever. It doesn't matter if there was a father there or not. That doesn't mean that you cannot learn what a healthy relationship look like, what interdependency is involved with, what what is required.
And
Because
how
like I
does that
said before,
happen? How does that happen?
have the conversations with the people that have done it. We
How
all have
how can
access.
you have a conversation when you're 7 years old? How can you have a conversation like that when you're, like, 8 or 9 or 10? And you don't even
When
know,
you
like, with toys, like,
listen,
that's not
when
what children are thinking about. They know that they have a longing, but that's not an intellectual conversation that they can have.
we're already predisposed as adults to think our kids don't know any better, but most of these kids are smarter than us. They know how to do things with phones, electronics, and technology that us older folks don't even have a clue of. You understand? Basically, these kids know if they wanted to know something, how to Google.
No,
They
that's
know
not
how to go on
the
YouTube.
same, Carl. That's not the same. You know, and
No,
let's
I'm just saying, if a 16-year-old kid right now, if a 16-year-old kid right now don't have a father in their life, but wanted to know what it's like or what is required of any type of man, they know how to seek out where to start looking by at least going on YouTube, looking at certain algorithms of social media. They know where to
that's
go
you.
to start.
That's you. That you're a grown man. You no. Now you mean to tell
No,
me
kids do. Just like kids know how to go look up how to build a bomb. You got
no.
kids out here that know how to hack computers. They learned this at 9, 10,
Yeah,
12
but
years
those are
old.
things they're interested in. I mean, as a kid, you're learning things. You're learning tone. You can't pick that up off of line. You can learn from a daggone pimp, for God's sake. That does not mean that is good information to be reapplying and applying in your life. Do you understand what I'm saying? People have heroes and things like that. So they look up to these things. They're fictitious. You need real men. You need your dad. You need somebody to say, hey, that actually knows you. It's not that you know the man. You need somebody that knows you. You need a real human interaction. And I think a lot of our young people, they're missing that. And so it's such a big gap in time in their life that they finally find on the back end when they get adults. Wow, this is what really affected me because of my what I experienced in my childhood. So we just
Okay.
can't
And the,
say,
and the only thing I guess I'm standing on is that even though they don't have access to it, doesn't mean they can't ascertain it. And it goes back to the mothers. Now I'm a segue it into in wars. When your husband died or your baby, well, they didn't have baby dad. It's really when your husband died. You as a woman hurried up and found another man to replace because there had to be a man in the household. The
yes, I
mindset of women have changed since then, that if there's no man in the household, don't worry, I can do both. I can celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day. You're trying to tell that lie to yourself to the point you believe it, and you try to teach and trickle that down to your children to where as they get older they think that's fine. No, it's not. So it's contamination on top of contamination. Understand that as women, it is rough out here. I understand the dating pool is rough, all of that. I understand all of it. But that still does not mean that your job of finding a quality man and putting that same effort, that same energy as you put into your college degrees, your hair, your makeup, or whatever else, put the same effort into knowing where to shop and how to shop for that type of dude. So you don't have to work harder. You can work smarter.
okay. I agree with that. I agree. And but okay, if that woman, right, if she doesn't see the value in a man, right? And see, I call him the other baby daddy, Big Daddy Gov. He's providing for her, home.
He's
Um,
providing peanuts compared to the big picture.
no, no,
In
no, no,
other
no. I
words,
said Big Daddy
he's,
Gov. This is
I
Gov
know
Big
big.
Daddy.
I know that Big Daddy Gov is
He's not giving peanuts.
pacifying you.
Yeah.
He's pacifying you. That's what I mean by peanut. He's pacifying you. He's not giving you a free way out to succession. He's not.
Yeah. But that's where a lot of
So
people are because they don't want to give up like certain benefits and things like that. But
right,
it's
right.
not gonna
Yeah.
benefit you in the end. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
not even healthy because you got to look at it this way. Do we want our children? Do we really want our children to believe in the same way, baby daddy Gov?
Big
Do
Daddy
we
Gov.
want our right? Do we want our children to grow up and think that's what they got to rely on? See, like I said, if you keep putting all these excuses, contaminations, interference in the way, it kind of hinders people from learning and understanding, respecting what interdependency is required.
Yeah.
Interdependency is the most valuable thing right now.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, interdependency is a valuable thing, but it is a skill. You just can't turn it on, turn it off, and say, "Well, I'm going to only be interdependent when Carl does this or does that." Like that's not how it works either. That's just how you have to be as a
What do you
person.
mean it's a skill though? What do you mean
You
by that?
think that being interdependent is a skill and that it's not built? You don't think so?
I thought, well, maybe I'm saying it wrong, but I was always on the perception that interdependency was something that was taught and
That's
learned.
what I said.
Okay, maybe I'm
You're
listening to it
just
wrong.
saying
My
that
bad.
you're saying already as an adult a person should already be interdependent. But if that's not taught to you or shown to you, or you practice it multiple times a day, you're not going to use it, or
But
it's
you
going to.
utilize it during your kindergarten year. That's what I'm trying to understand. From kindergarten on, you are taught to work well with others to achieve the same goal.
Okay, yeah, that's that. But now that's on a general standpoint. These are strangers. Now, when you get more focused in a home, that's why we were talking about purpose and design. You need a man, the mom, and the dad working. So that shows you relational interdependency. That's a totally different
Oh,
dynamic.
okay. Okay.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
you're
Because
telling me
like a
about
lot
a
of
job.
go ahead.
You're talking about the difference between a job setting versus a personal relationship setting.
Yes, because
You can, yeah,
you made that delineation as well. You said your dad is your
mhm,
dad, I am me. I'm not your dad
right,
isn't sleeping with you. So
right. I
it's
got you.
a totally different thing. So like that is,
Got you.
I do have interdependence with certain people, but when it comes to the intimacy part, that is a
Uh-huh.
deeper level that I have with you, that we function
Right, right.
to keep the prize, like you talked about before, of the relationship going, so that we can continue to get
Uh-huh.
outcomes on a daily, monthly, yearly basis.
Correct. Got
Right.
you. I'm with you.
Thank you. Okay, now we can move forward. Okay, let's get it popping because I'm still learning this programming. All right. All right. All right. It says the new purpose and a new design. A couple, I saw this on Instagram. A couple switch roles for their wedding to show their commitment to each other. Let me see what else that thing says. It says, yep. What are your thoughts on that?
That's the most demasculating picture I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Me too. Oh man.
That's not showing commit. There's no way that you can utilize that view as a commitment. If you want to show me a commitment to each other, I would
Mm-hmm.
have better I would have better liked to see y'all wipe the shit from each other's ass. Okay? If you want to show me commitment. All right, dog. You can keep your dress and ponytail or whatever the heck you got going on. But when you start, saying, hey, you know what? Even if you lose your titty tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
I would still hug on you and kiss on you and love on you.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you caught multiple sclerosis, cerebral palsy, I would still wipe the shit from your ass. I mean, if you want to show commitment, because this is not commitment. She looks good now. There's nothing physically wrong with her,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But come on, dog. What happens when her receding hairline goes way back further than yours? Are you still going to show commitment? I mean, let's be real.
Right.
Come on. Come on.
Sometimes you just think you've seen everything, and then something just takes the cake. And I just seen this. I was like, I have to do a show
I'm
on this
curious if
because
that
I just
was.
go ahead.
I'm more curious, was that by her initiative than
Mm,
his? Because I can't see a man saying, "Hey, baby, I want to marry you, but I'm gonna dress like a woman in a wedding dress, so I can show my commitment to." That doesn't even sound right. And I've heard a lot. Nothing surprises me, but this is some you was in your inner female self to be, and I wouldn't be surprised that she initiated this. I'm just saying. I'm not pushing blame. I'm just
Mm.
saying that this sounds like something that a man. How can you figure
Well,
that
literally,
unless
she like wearing the pants. Like you can literally see it.
yeah,
Whole
make you
thing.
wear. I mean, we have seen actors over the year, the decade, talking about putting a dress on.
Right.
What would make a black man put a dress on and parade around publicly? Nah, bro. Come on,
Yeah, this
come
is
on.
not even a celebrity status. This is just a
Yeah, exactly. This is on some non-celebrity local status, and you saying what to show commitment? Next time she take a shit, I want to see who wipes her ass, you or her. Let's see if that commitment is there.
mm,
Right? When
RB.
she's sick in ICU and ain't giving you no coochie for the next 3 months, let's see if you are built like Papoose and sit around and yeah. Let's see your commitment there, dog.
Mm.
Crazy.
Real Bravado Network. How do I highlight these? Can you highlight these? Look at me. This is my first time. Oh, hold on. Why is that in the way?
I wouldn't say that. Single mother don't make gay black men. Okay, that's an attackful way of saying that you're blaming the women when it's not the women. It's the individual himself making that choice. He can be influenced, but that's really on a self thing.
Well, but the thing I those are the things I like worry about too because but I do believe in some way that a feminine influence is very strong and in the presence of a boy, it could make him very socially awkward on a lot of levels, and he may not be fruity, but like a lot of his tendencies may be effeminate in some type of way, and that's why I'm like, yeah, we need to like stop having
That's a
babies.
broad.
Get a husband, you
That's
know.
a that's a broad assumption compared to most of the most masculine men that we have around us. Always talk about this single coming from a single mother. When you talk about Snoop, when you talking about Denzel and so many other men, as masculine as they are, they came from single mothers.
Mhm.
So we can't say that as a broad spectrum when there are dudes that come from single mothers, but they're not part of the whole diddy diddy thing. It's
Yeah,
just that I think what bravado I think it is.
yeah. Real
I
the
think
real.
what it is that what women are doing in front of their sons, around their sons, what access they give their sons to. Now that may hinder him from understanding a male's role, but to outright blame them, um, because like I said, when you go to school, when you're not around your mother, are
Mhm.
these guys hanging out with girls or are they hanging out with other dudes? Our boys, when they're not around their mother, when they're going outside to play, are they hanging around a bunch of other females or are they hanging out with a bunch of dudes?
Mhm.
Male resource can come from different forms. Uncles,
Mhm.
mommy's friend that came over, um, teachers, counselors, it could, even your friends.
Hard, like I totally kind of agree with that as well. Where the mother is, I mean, how the mother exposes the boy to certain things, like me myself, like I have two boys. They got their grandpa. We had school vacation this week. They're like, we want to go to work with I said, go
Exactly.
ahead, take up and pick up them ties, get all dirty, get around that scrap
Mhm.
metal, probably scrape yourself up. Hopefully not, but Go ahead, do those things. Let him yell at you, whatever he does, what men do, whatever. Um, I let them go. Go ahead. Also, I
Hmm.
bring them into other mentorship programs that I can't necessarily, say that there just is a way, a tone, an authority of how a man presents himself to
Hmm.
men,
From
to other men. It's just
everything from the smell to the voice, everything. There's a
stand like
lot to it.
awesome.
Hmm.
And so, as much as I can do that, I do that until I'm able to till their dad hangs out with them, or until I'm able to get a husband and let him be that role model if I can find a nice man. Hey, but but like, as we also seen on the other hand, that there's moms that are taking their boys to the strip pole classes. That's a little weird. I also do have a picture. I don't have it up on here of a young man getting acrylic nails in pedicure. That's
Listen,
crazy.
listen,
That's
listen.
that's something else, and I've never seen it on that fashion, and it just made me even more vigilant. Like, okay,
Mhm.
go rolling around some dirt, guys. Like, get
It is a lot of it is a lot of corruption and contamination that does take place,
Mhm.
whether it's intentionally or unintentional. But remember, let's not forget. This is why I had to stop that statement from being, you know, exaggerated because there's no manual to parenting. We all think we're doing the right thing when sometimes the right thing is not the right thing. So since we know there's no manual, you understand, you can't one size fit all brush to all boys, all girls growing up as kids. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that we know as adult is with a baby, you put the bottle in the mouth and change the diaper and you pat them on the back. Other than that, there's no manual. How do you teach a child about sex? How do you, teach them responsibility and all this? Not everybody's going to get it learn the same way.
Okay.
Every child does not receive information the same way or process it to enact it. Some kids are more lazy than others. Some are more smarter than others. You
Mhm.
understand? Everyone is different individuals, so you can't paintbrush it. You can
I
give all
am
the kids in the world a curfew. Some of them is going to use that time constructively, and some of them is going to find some mischievous crap to get into to escape it, run away from home, whatever. It depends on the individual, not the parenting, the individual.
we need a manual, but I'm glad I have my Bible. But still, like, sometimes, even though, like, I know people say, "Well, you learn the Bible and you're the preacher's kid," but still, your natural biology and curiosity sometimes gets the best of you. Not meaning that
Every
I'm no
singer,
better, no better or
every
worse.
si-
It's just that everybody's curious sometimes.
every singer came out of a
No
church.
excuse. No excuses.
Every no excuses, but every singer came out of a church from Bobby Brown on up. Everybody came out of a church, but that doesn't mean they stayed in a church. You understand? People evolve. They learn things. They get sidetracked. They just evolve. Come on,
I don't know. Sometimes
everybody's different.
people evolve. I think people just change.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what it is.
sometimes,
They
but
do evolve.
yeah, they change, but sometimes it can be for the good or for the bad. So evolving
It depends,
it's
right?
not always evolving. It's devolving. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Hey,
you evolving
tomatoes,
like
tomatoes.
tomatoes small. No, you just trying to have an excuse. No, some people devolve. Okay, so let's just call it what it is.
I would be a hypocrite if I said that because
Okay.
sometimes doing the right thing is not the right thing.
No, sometimes it's doing the right thing is the right thing, but you don't want to bear the cost of it. That's different. You can do the right thing, but do you want to pay the price of doing the right thing? That's what
I could
people.
talk. I could talk to every male and
Mhm.
tell them what they should be doing with a
Okay.
son. It does not mean that out of 10 guys, five of them it's not going to work.
Okay.
Because remember, It's how he presents it, and then it's how the child receives it.
Okay,
All of
but
these different factors. Yeah, that's right.
okay, let's okay, before we move on, I'm gonna bring you back to um um uh, a point that you made one time in a discussion. You were saying, right, that all right, this is Tennessee barbecue. We have the burger and we want two pickles on the sandwich. So we all got the
Right.
well that everybody got now. I don't care Jimmy from 30 years ago. This is what made this company famous is these
Mm-hmm.
two pickles. And you want to work here, right? So don't go putting
Mm-hmm.
five pickles on it, whatever. So everybody
Mm-hmm.
can have the general gist of being trained on one thing and still
Mm-hmm.
make it a consistent burger. Like, yeah, maybe you add a little bit extra sauce on it, whatever it is. But I think that most people can get instruction and carry it out. That's just me, based on what you said.
Correct. No, you're correct. And that's just teaching a person to stay within the confines of what the person who's running things, like you said about being, like we talk about being interdependent, or how to work well with others, how to take direction, because the best leadership is the person that can take the best instruction.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? You can't be a leader and don't take instruction as well.
Right.
It plays a role. If you start working at McDonald's, there is somebody who's going to stand there and say, listen, two pickles only. Don't put five or six. You want this $20 an hour? Then you're going to put two pickles. Now, if you come in here and put five, six, or whatever, because this is what you do at home, or this is what you're used to, or this is what your grandmother did, you're not going to have that job long.
Right? Exactly. Either that, you're gonna have to
So,
start your own thing, which people do. Like people, they don't want to stay. There's some things that do, like you said, that evolve for better. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it still takes it
I'm telling
breaks
you
the
right now, I'm
okay.
I'm I'm just looking at this picture again, and that's what's got me bugged out right now because you know,
Mhm.
oh
Yeah.
Lord,
How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel?
it's really an embarrassment
Mhm.
because our ancestors. I'm a big fan of our history, and there are people that died so they can have that privilege and honor and such of marriage. And to watch this, it's like somebody disrespecting the whole passage of it, the whole description of it. It's
Mhm.
like it's like taking something important and turning it into a joke.
Mhm.
This
Yeah.
ain't Saturday Night Live. This ain't Mad TV. This ain't In Living Color. There's no reason why I should see a long haired, dreadlocked man with a beard in a female wedding gown, and I shouldn't see no chick with shaved hair on the side in no male suit. And she's on one knee looking up at him. There should be no reason for that, even in 2024. It's disrespectful, and this ain't just an opinion of mine. This is more of just purpose and design. That's not no, no. That's disgusting.
Well,
That's disrespectful.
it says seven pickles. We want to add stuff in,
Exactly.
things out,
Exactly.
and this is what happens. And then so now that multiplies on different levels, and we're like, oh, okay, well, they know it's crazy, but there's how do I top this? You know what I'm saying? There's
Well,
always
what would it be like now if more black women got the memo that if they want to get married, they have to do this.
you said women want the memo. Hold on, I
If
think
there
some.
was a memo, if there
Hold
was
on
a
one second.
memo put out,
Hold on. I think I'm getting a call. We're getting a call. All right. A new movement's coming in. All right. Now that you're segueing to what women do you know, and you're very aware, the 4B movement from the East? Okay. So women they're getting some type of memo because they're starting to say, now this is developing in South Korea. No heterosexual interaction sex no heterosexual sex with a man. Two, the second B is no heterosexual marriage to men. Three, the third B is no dating men and no childbirth. So it seems like women are
So,
making their own memo, Mr. Shaft.
yeah, but see, you know what this all does?
Hmm.
It takes away our population.
Okay.
It also interferes with the economy,
Right. But
and most
mhm,
of all, it interferes with individual mental, social, and emotional health. All of them.
yeah, not only is it in the East, it is also in the West. Now, the thing is, okay, talking about purpose and design, why can't we go back to a time where you said in the past where we moved a certain way, where we respected each other, where we had a great moral compass, which was, in church or service, and we served each other in the community, and those types of things. We believe family was good. Men went to work. Women didn't mind being at home and you know being in the
We
community. And
because today I have to put it where it stands. Women do not respect purpose and design.
is it women or is it men, or have we
No,
both?
no. On that level, I got to say it's the women. I can't say it's the men. I'm gonna tell you why.
Now, what time think the women have done this, or like has it? Is this some? I mean, I
No,
know that.
this is like 85 till now. From
Okay.
1980, from when Oprah started becoming out there, the feminism, all of that, um, when women respected men, when women understood that their partnership played a big role in men, children, economy, mental, physical, and emotional health. When they respected all of it, we had no problems. And then remember now, this is where women were married, 16 to 25, and they had 10, 20 kids, and their
Hmm.
husband only had one or two jobs.
Hmm.
Uh,
Would you say that that's a home economy, not necessarily a social economy?
no, it was a social economy. It wasn't a homeless economy. Listen, the
Yeah.
average person, oh, let me tell you now,
Okay.
the average person today that's on public assistance is bringing in the same amount of money that a man was bringing into the household with a wife and 10 kids.
Yeah, but
And
we have
and that
inflation.
right, but I'm just showing you something. That man took that money, and remember I said earlier, budgeting played a
Hmm.
role in why your uncles and aunts got to where they're at today. Budgeting. They had shoes on their feet, clothes on their back. They went to school. They had breakfast and dinner. They had lunch. They played. They didn't have Xbox. They didn't have PlayStation. We didn't have. There was no technology. Not like it is today.
Hmm. So now we
So
got more
no,
money, more technology, and more problems.
but no budgeting.
I mean, yeah, we probably want more because we see more. The TV's
You
on,
got a
phones
you
are
got
on
an
24
iPhone
7.
20. Look at it. You have an iPhone 20, but you're behind 2 months in rent, or one
Mm,
month behind your cable bill or electric bill.
right.
Come on. You
I
in
don't.
Ubers, you in Ubers every day, but you can't afford to keep your cell phone bill on.
Yeah.
It's budgeting.
Yeah. but that is a home economic as well. Like we know how to move socially, but within the home, I think people know how to do it a little bit more. Is it true that I've heard that sometimes the men would go out that make the money and then bring the money home to the wives, and she like took
Hmm.
care of the bills and
She
things and the
dispersed it
food.
to, yeah, she
Yeah.
dispersed it to whatever bills need to be done, and whatever was left over went into savings, or she went and got herself something nice. What it is that, again, we don't trust each other, but we're not going back to those days ever,
Yeah. I mean, okay,
because
if you were able to, you just said it was about the issue of trust. If you were able to find a person that you trust because maybe you have to go do something real quick, will you be able to operate in your relationship with a woman you trust and let her manage the house, as we were talking about the home economics? Would you let allow her to help you manage the home? Will you have enough
I
trust,
could,
or will you ever allow yourself to have that trust for her?
no, I could. Anybody could. I mean, I could do that. I mean, I'm doing it already. So
Mhm.
why would I need her to come in to do the same thing I've already been doing for how many years? How many decades? You get what I'm saying? I don't. In other words, I don't need you to come in and budget what's have been budgeted for all these years.
Okay, but maybe she's not budging, but if you told her, "Hey, I need you to do this," or, "Hey, I need you to do that," is that possible?
Delegation of duties is part of a man's job
Okay.
as elected leadership. So
Okay. Alright.
of course,
Alright. I think, you know, we have another call coming in.
we got a lot of calls tonight.
Hold on, soft guy area, drizzle, drizzle. I heard, there's a, drizzle,
Oh,
drizzle happening.
oh, the new feminist movement of men. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. So, how are you
Metrosexual.
how are you feeling about now you said, um, if I can write this down, I saw this as like just like a little sarcastic joke to the women, because I know guys that they don't really take, what women say serious sometimes, and they try to, make fun of them. That's how I took it as. And there's different guys that's doing different things, but then there's men that they're just re-spewing what women say, like, well, she has to do this and she has to do that if she wants to date me, and things like, because women, they'll say he has to make over $50,000, or he can't be a bus driver, and things like that. So the women have made their demands. So I just think that it was like a spoof on men, doing the same thing, and then the women didn't like it. So I just thought that was like kind of like a little funny clapback. But then that there's gonna be men that take it seriously. So if you built yourself up
So
in,
let me tell.
should up
I was going
like
to tell
is
you.
go ahead.
No, I gotta interrupt here because I'm looking at it. The soft guy era,
Mhm.
I want women to understand, is the most dangerous type of men you can encounter.
Mhm.
And they still fall on the dollar store dude, by the way.
Mhm.
Okay? Because you're trying to turn a metrosexual male.
Mhm.
That's what they are. It's mostly a metrosexual male type thing. I want to sit there and beautify myself better than you do as a woman.
Do you
Yeah,
I
both
mean, do
soft guy
you
era,
think that
soft guy
sorry.
era is like you and a man being in competition in vanity.
Mm, I can I can definitely see it turning to that. That's why I was saying, like, I believe that it was a sarcastic clapback to the 4B movement, but as you stated, do you
Mhm.
think it has momentum to make men over demanding or just or display feminine traits? That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
we see it all the time on social media, on Instagram.
Mhm,
You do see a lot of guys displaying female traits.
mhm,
It forces them to, because again, we're going back to the original thing. Most of these men and women that run their mouth on social media do not know the purpose and design. They either disrespect it, ignore it, or don't know about it.
right.
There's a boundary to you being a man, there's a boundary with you being a woman. Your job
Right.
is not to help that man get no CDL. If he want to start a business, he better sit down on that laptop and learn how to do it. And only look for you to be his cheerleader. Yeah,
Mm,
baby, you could do it. But I'm gonna go over here and worry about what I need to do for my goals. But I'm
mhm.
still here interdependently supporting you. But I didn't say I'm gonna enable you by, oh, you want me to connect you to somebody, any type of footwork. Because at that point, you might as well put on a payroll. Bullshit.
Oh my lord.
So, no, no.
Hey everybody, if you're tuning in to the Wife School podcast, I am Stephanie, your host today, and I have my guest. His name is Carl Shaft, and we are discussing purpose and design of male and female relationship dynamic. Um,
Mhm.
and so, I mean, if you haven't seen it so far, please continue, like, share, and subscribe, or you can definitely catch the replay of this. Um, so, Carl, I wanted to go onto TikTok and, share you know, what's coming. It seems like, the clapback of the 4G movement is already happening with other
It won't
communities.
last long. Listen, that won't last no longer
Mhm,
than the passport bro. Okay, you see how the passport bros try to kick up momentum to get other guys recruited into their little fantasy world, and now look at them. You go in a certain country, they protest against these guys. They're beating them up. Even the cops are against the passport bro. So they can't just run up in these towns and think the men don't have to do nothing. It's the women that are protesting against the passport bros coming into their country, their town, or whatever, and using and abusing. They're tired of it. So it looks like the passport bros is going to have to retreat back to the United States and deal with whatever they wasn't qualified for in the first place
mm.
because it's over with. And the
Well,
same thing with what you're
thing is,
talking about. That ain't gonna last long.
yeah, I mean, if you just like, if we don't have respect for one another, it and we're using other people in, as a replacement type thing. I mean,
Mhm.
if you genuinely love a person, you genuinely love a person. But like, I can understand, America really not being a breeding ground of, you know, you maybe quality partners, but I mean, I believe that everybody
We
can
don't respect our elders, and that's where most of the wisdom comes from. We
but
need more
they're dying
people.
out, Carl. Like,
I understand that, but we need more 40 something year olds that have more conversations with 60, 70-year olds. Not the bitter ones, the ones that actually did it and doing it. And stop listening to these new breeds that's trying to create ways to go against and
mhm,
disrespect interdependency, um, with all this 50-50 crap and all this soft men era, the panda bears, the excuses. Nah, go back to the people that could tell you this is how they maintain 40, 50 years with the same man, the same woman,
mhm.
happily. Your Denzels, your Slick Rick, your Big Daddy Kane's, your Ronnie DeVoe, your Charlie Wilson. You don't hear about these guys in no newspapers and no TMZs and all of it. They married
Right.
20 plus years. Come on. Oh man,
Man, I mean, well, yeah, but that's it's I'm like, okay, well, the thing is, they're not putting that on the World Star and all these mocha rooms and shade rooms. Like, that's not what people want to see. They know that that's not going to move anything. They're driven. People are driven by algorithms. People are driven by drama, things that really don't matter, things that don't help us evolve.
yeah,
That's
but
just
they
is
still
what it
had.
is.
But we had Family Guy, we had Family Matters. We've had shows. Even I'm looking at this show, The Upshores. There are still shows out here showing you what interdependency and long-term relationships look like, what it's about, how to get it, how to maintain it. We don't want to. We think the laziest way, the easiest way, is to run around and flex how independent we are
But
and
that's just
knowing
the
that's not
mindset,
true.
and then, like you said, there's other people okay, like you said, people are logging on to the internet and these places and finding this type of information. And if you see that it's affecting a whole bunch of people and that a bunch of people are thinking the same way, obviously they're getting it from the same place. Don't you get what I'm saying? And
I got exactly what you're saying.
okay, so that is what's being pushed because women, they really do have a good force of spending money. They do have a good force of coming out in numbers and being supportive and being cheerleaders. That's just our nature. So feeding us and pandering to the negative things or the things that keep us, like you said at one time in a conversation about leverage, they're gonna use it and they're gonna keep pushing that narrative to the women. They're just gonna keep regurgitating that type of algorithm, that type of information. That's why you see so much people with they're saying the same thing, the same YouTube talking point, the same, like, we seem like we can't come to a solution.
There's going to be a lot of people pissed off. Everybody in their 30s and 40s right now is going to be pissed off when they get into their 50s and 60s because they, like I've said to a lot of women already, you're wasting the most valuable time by being fuckable and not keepable. You're wasting the most valuable time
Um,
with all this
don't
independent crap.
don't swear too much. Okay.
No, I wasn't. I'm aware.
Okay.
Um, I only say that because if you do not put in the work, the effort, the requirement, the earning into what is needed later, if you don't invest in that now for later, you're going to be very pissed off when you're over 50 and you realize there's no Medicaid. You got to pay for medical out of pocket. Your children are grown trying to have their own families, their own thing, and
Right.
you're sitting there by yourself trying to figure out how you're going to pay for that $400 pill to keep you alive. Because
Right.
all this independent, self-employed, whatever, that didn't reap no reward, did it? So here you are, dudes ain't dating up, they dating down. So here you are, over 50, over 55. Nobody trying to check for you. You're not even as attractive as you was back then,
Hmm.
and you got to pay this medication. You got to get all your depends.
My depends.
Veneers. I'm just saying,
That's true.
this craze with the veneers and the BBLs. You can't do that at 55, 65 years old.
Hey, I'm a 10, right, Carl? I'm getting my
Listen,
BBL at 55. I'm getting my BBL.
that ain't gonna help. They won't even put it in. They don't put BBLs in people over a certain age.
Mm.
Come on, they
So,
don't.
okay, so what you're saying is if a person ages out, they have to take that out or they keep it in
Yeah, no,
as
they take it out before. Yeah, they take it out before you get old because
Ooh.
it's like a weight capacity issue. It's not gonna hold. It's not designed to be put into older people. Your body becomes more fragile and less tolerant of things.
Mm.
You're
Mm.
stronger in your 30s than when you are in your 50s. There come a time where your body is not going to be as strong as it used to be. That's why you see people walk around with canes and walkers. They can't even take their own body weight.
Phew, I know, and this is why I don't disagree with Kevin talking about women that we should weigh less than a man, because it
Mhm.
does hamper on your joints. It's not a shot at you because
Mhm.
of your weight, but it really biologically and scientifically affects your joints over time. I have
Mhm.
a bad back, and the little 30 pounds that I gained, my lord, hurt makes my back hurt way even more. See, now I'm telling about I'm old, but it definitely is a difference, and it is scientific, and so it is beneficial to exercise and to be at a decent weight and not be so heavy in your older years, because of the fragility,
Mhm.
strong, and to keep as much as that mobility as you can. The point is to preserve as
Remember
much as long as you can, and especially if you're with your partner, if
mhm.
you you guys can come together and
when
walk
when your cartridge give out, there's no warranty on your cartridges. Believe it or not.
around.
That's why most knee replacement surgeries,
Mhm,
they give you the artificial. The artificial is not like the original you're born with. When that gives out, that's it.
mhm, mhm.
Now we
It's
can put this plastic one in there, but that's not the same as what you're originally born with. This is what I'm saying. When certain things on your body, rather
mhm,
it's body fat, water weight, muscle, whatever it is, joints,
mhm.
arthritis, we all know, that's it.
It is. I mean, you can, but a lot of that is nutrition, which we can control, which we can personally control. We don't have to rely on the
Not so much you
medication and
control,
that
not so much
$400.
control. You can't control, no, you cannot really control it. You could try
But
to minimize it, but you can't control it
you can
because
control it.
getting old is something you can't
I'm not
control.
talking about aging. I'm talking about controlling what you contribute to the destruction of your physical structure.
Right, but it only buys you 5, 10 years. It doesn't really control anything because I don't know if you remember Jacqueline.
Yeah, he controlled a lot. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, Hugh Hefner. There's a lot of people that live to see 70 and 80 years old. It's not
Mhm.
because they controlled it; it's because they did what they can to help minimize it. But they still got old.
Yeah, I'm not talking about aging. I'm talking about controlling what you eat that contributes to your inflammation, which is inflammation in your joints. The
Right,
inflammation,
it
like
buys you time. Right.
there's certain things that you just don't have to eat, that if you knew in hindsight that laying off the burgers and the
Uh-huh.
saturated fats that gave you that massive heart attack
Hmm.
and put you on the table, would you have continued to still eat those things?
I get what you're saying, and you're right.
Okay, yes. Okay, thank you.
And then we
That's it.
have, remember now, we also have certain people. I hate to refer back to like the George Burns and Red Fox. George Burns smoked cigars up until he died. So did Red Fox. Red Fox smoked cigarettes and drink all the way until he died. The
Mhm,
thing that what you're saying is that even though healthy habits, trying to do your best to minimize and live and eat healthy. There are people out here that drink bourbon every morning for the last 80 years,
mhm.
smoke cigars. We think of it as nasty, but hey, their moderation of it kept them alive for 80 years. We only know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. And like I said, There's no manual to it. All we can do is try to do what we've learned, what's best for us as an individual
Mhm.
to live as long as we can. But we can only minimize. We can't control the outcome. There's too many people under 50 that's not here no more.
Mhm.
And they ate well. If you look at the Michael Jackson, if you look at the Prince, if you look at, there's a lot of people that didn't make 50. I mean, the Levert, Heavy D, come on. Now, yeah, they drink alcohol. Some of them did drugs, some of them
Yeah,
whatever.
but more than
But
likely, Carl, you know that somebody or a medical professional with design and purpose that know the design and know the purpose of what certain things do in your body has informed them
Mhm.
from a doctor's visit. If you keep doing this, this is
Yeah,
what's going to happen. So you
hmm,
can't just say, "Oh, we know, we know." People know a lot, you
of
know,
course. You
and
just
we just
refuse to
bypass.
want to.
Yep, and they say I even heard my friend with the same age. He said, "Well, we all go from something, so I'm gonna keep doing what I want to do." So I was like, "Well, all right," but we don't never know.
I
We
know.
don't know the
Yep.
far end. So I'm gonna show you
I
this.
got I got an aunt like that right now that she knows she's gaining weight. She knows she's obese, but she don't want to do what it takes to take it off or help herself. So I mean,
Mhm.
hey,
I hope she does because I'm telling you that little. I'm trying my best. I've been even at work. I've been actively trying to eat less overnight, even though I'm up mostly at night. But um, I've I've noticed a little bit like in my hunger cravings have gone down a little bit and drinking more water and replacing
moderation.
it with fruit and vegetables. But I love coffee. I've been even trying to cut down on that. So actively trying to know what my design is for my own body. It's like I have a specific blood type, so there's just certain things that I thought I could eat that really is detrimental and things I should avoid for my specific blood type. So even trying to do little things to make it better has helped a little bit. But yeah. Mm-mm. I'm gonna show you one more thing as far as talking about
I'm all for it.
the 4G movement. Okay, let's see if I can get it popping. All right.
I was hoping it was a phone call, but okay.
Oh, I didn't put the phone call right there. You're hilarious. Okay, let's see if I can do this.
Because we are the table. Without my seed, you can't have any kids, drizzle, drizzle.
You seem a little late to the party, but I can understand why you weren't invited. Actually, women were informed just this very week that the organization and the coalition for LGBTQIA plus men apparently they have volunteered. They have volunteered to become the providers of seed. So yeah, I mean, it looks like we're not going to be sitting at your table, and all the gay men, well, they volunteered to provide seed. So they had a few, requirements of us, but we are more than happy to meet them. You know, turkey basters will just replace you, and vibrators will do the things you've never been able to do.
Because we are the table.
Can you believe that?
She sounds more ignorant than he do. Well, they both sound ignorant. First of
And
all, turkey. First of all, turkey baster.
yeah, do you see how like now it's like it
There's not a
they
set.
wanted their
Listen,
movement and then now the men cut back and then now we're going to
oh
men
Lord.
that are from the
Let me
specific.
tell you something. Let me tell you something. Let me do with her first, since she's more ignorant than he is. I don't care what these alphabet city. I don't care about all this. Who think they can clap back with a better, you know, sounding point? But I'm gonna tell you something. When your house is on fire, who's showing up as a firefighter. It's not going to be a bunch of women. It's going to be a bunch of men. When your car breaks down, it ain't going to be a woman tow truck driver. It's going to be a male. The guy that fixes your car, it's going to be mostly male. When you're getting ass whipped, robbed, or raped, it's going to be a
Just
cop.
watch certain words we say on YouTube.
Okay, it's going to be a police officer, male. Okay, in other words, there's no way in the world that
Mhm.
you can escape the male domination as the purpose and design of our existence.
Mhm.
There's no way you can replace it. None of these new I don't want to call them Gen X or millennial, whatever the hell they are. None of them can come up with a plan to eliminate male dominance. Your toys can't replace a male
Mhm.
because when you got three guys with guns banging down your door, would you like to go check downstairs, or would you rather have a man upstairs? Oh, I forgot. Females can have guns too, so now they're gonna come down like they GI Jane. It still doesn't matter. You're 170 pounds, 160 pounds soaking wet. You don't think three guys can just disarm you and take your weapon from you?
Most
Come
definitely.
on. What it is that there's nothing you can do. Now I can switch to him. He sounds just as ignorant because the table, as we call it, no
Mhm.
one is the prize. No male or female is the prize. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care where you was raised at. The prize is what is the outcome of your union. I'm not talking about the kids. Beyond that, if you two spend 20 years together and because of that, you have influenced other people and their marriages, and your kids is grown and they're raising their children to be, that's the prize, the outcome of you. It's like you went to college and you got a degree. Is a degree a prize? No, it's not. What did you do with that degree? How many lives did you change? The person that got their doctor's degree
Mhm.
did 15 heart transplants. And
Mm.
because of that, those people live longer to help other people. That's the prize. Not you because you went and got a doctor's degree. Because you can
But
have a
it, I
degree and
mean,
still
it's a
be
cause and
unemployed.
effect. It's a
She's
cause.
into her feeling. She's into her feeling because I'm gonna look at her right now. She's been rejected so many times by quality men that she's mad, and it comes out. That's why they run to the Alphabet City or some other segue to make it seem like. But I can look at it and tell she is so upset that nobody saw her. They
Mhm.
always look past her because she wasn't qualified for quality men. And that's what it looks like. This right there, I don't care what color you are. This is a white lady. You could be black, Hispanic. This is what it looks like when you've been rejected or when you don't qualify. This is what a lot of women gonna look like after 40 years old, talking just like her, ignorant.
It's very it's disheartening, and that's why I kind of like developed the wife school because of that. Like I've been through the ups and downs or whatever and all things like that, but I
You
saw
look like a passport, bro. I'm sorry. He looks like a passport, bro. He's one of them dudes, and ladies, I hope you don't run into these type of dudes. They think they can buy their way into a relationship, buy their way into dominance and control. I'm the man. I'm a leader. No, you're not. You got to be elected to lead.
but if but that means you have to be moving like that already, right?
Of course. When you're elected to lead, you'll know because the woman is telling you, come here, come here. I'll give you sex, peace, and cooperation, and I'll move into your home. Please lead me.
Mhm.
That's what she says when she says, I do. When a woman says, I do to a man, that's what she's saying. I'll move in with you. You provide the home. I will provide you peace, cooperation. That's what that looks like.
Mm. Sounds simple.
But this dude sounds like he's been around a lot of strip clubs. He's been around a lot of women that, you know, he can put a few bucks out and they went, ooh, gaga goo goo.
We're not going to be
He's
sitting at
Yeah.
your table.
because we are the table. Without my seed, you can't have any kids, drizzle drizzle.
you see,
Seem a little late to the party.
that sounds like what they call that leverage. That sounds like manipulation. Without my seed, you can't have kids.
I mean, but
Are you?
that's true. I mean,
Are you? No, 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 no. It doesn't. No, it's not true because see, this is what you're saying. You're pushing these women to believe that we gonna find another way to get seed without you. Nick Cannon did it. Lil Wayne did it. My brother DMA did it. They all got children and never married these women. So they got the seed already. Did they? Yes. Elephant Man, he got what, 28, 38 kids, something like that? So again, who got the seed?
Mhm.
He's got, come on, you already got it.
Yeah, but I mean, she's talking about they're not going to use, they're going to use a man, but they're going to use, as we heard, the men from the other community to give them children, which is another,
And you're gonna, and now
which is
you got to
another
carry all
barrier
that bottle.
to the
Let me get this straight. So
extra kids.
you went and got turkey basted, and now you got to do everything by yourself. Carry the waters by yourself. Raise a boy and a girl
Mhm.
by yourself. That wasn't the design and purpose.
Yeah, I had this video, but
Turkey
I didn't put
basted.
it, I didn't load it, but we're gonna wrap up soon.
Come
Even
on,
I know, right? You went
come
10
on. You
hours.
might as well. Come
No,
on.
I have to go to work. Okay. So
Oh Lord.
yeah, I'm a regular American, just like most of us.
Okay.
Um,
I it's
there was
your
a lady,
show.
I know, right? There was a two couples, I believe there were a lesbian couple that got the seed from the man to have the child.
Hmm.
Then her partner left her. So now she was a single mom. And since the lady didn't want to take care of the child with her, so she said, well, I'm going to find the father of the seed where I got it from and make him pay child support because she didn't want to take care of the
No,
child.
no,
And
no. It
that's
doesn't.
what,
No, the child support goes to the wife that you had. No,
yep. So, like, you
no.
see,
The
like,
wife
how,
that you had that left you, she owes the child support, not him.
and so, like, you
Once you
see
once you took custody of his seed, let me explain something to you legally. Once you accept the male seed, I'm talking all the alphabet seed. When you get a child outside of normal conventional way, you are now giving up that right. You get what I'm saying? You don't have the right to return the sender just because of the basis of sex. If you two women decide to be married as lesbians and y'all got one of these turkey basted and y'all break up, that woman is held liable for child support, not the original DNA father, as you want to call it. Because once you took it from that turkey baster, all rights was relinquished. He
mm,
don't even have custody. He can't even knock on your door with a DNA test and say, "Give me my son back." He
wow.
can't. That's why legally he wouldn't be held liable. But that wife that left you can legally. She's
Mhm.
held liable for child support.
Wow. Yeah, it's
So let's
funny,
be
man. You
careful.
know, adding all those pickles, we keep messing up the whole
Listen,
design, keep messing up the whole recipe.
when
Now we got something else. We got a
when
lot
they
of
went remember
Hey,
when they passed a law?
I didn't finish.
I'm just gonna say something real quick. I'm sorry. When they passed, I gotta say this for the LGBT. Listen, when they passed the law for them to get married legally, you notice that they didn't rush to the altar. That number still hasn't risen because the liability. If you marry that person, you're just as liable as if you was the husband.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what it is. It's not,
Alimony, child support, all of that.
but okay, yes, but we want to rename a lot of things for the sake of love. Marry who you want, and now you know that it's not necessarily love all the time. It's sometimes there's a
Correct.
merger, so things like that. Like back in the day, that
Hmm.
Sally, she didn't want to marry Benjamin. He was ugly and fat and had a big mole on his nose. But this merger was gonna keep $20 billion in the family for the next 500 years.
Hmm.
So there were some people, they were ruthless back then. But there's just certain things that you do. Like, yeah, the love will come. You know what I'm saying? But like, if this is the best option, or a good person for me, like I have to choose the characteristics in that man or whatever and grow to love them. It will happen because the last person I dated, I wasn't really highly attracted to him, but I liked how he moved as a man. I was like, wow, that's kind of nice. And then he showed me those attributes, so that made my heart ease for that. Like, wow, that made me feel the feeling that I felt, not necessarily the look, because I already
Hmm.
did the looking before and that didn't end me nowhere. It was horrible. And so the feelings that I got from it, I was like, wow, that's what you want to keep going. That's what you want to keep. Well, how can I reciprocate this feeling that I feel that you've shown me? And I just think that we just, like you said, we don't know how to shop. We don't know how to pick because we don't know what the design and purpose of
People
um
want the glory of things without the repercussions and responsibilities that come with it. If,
mhm,
like I said before, the LGBT, the Alphabet City, a lot of them thought that they can get involved with each other and be legally recognized and married to each other, but they didn't want to deal with the repercussions that heterosexual relationships had to go through, the alimony, the child support, and all of that. No, when you said you fought for the rights, you also fought for the repercussions. But you thought that the repercussions doesn't apply because selectively you can use your physical sex
mhm,
to kind of like exempt you, and it doesn't work like that, not by
right,
law. And when it comes down to even with men and women today,
yeah,
they think they could get into a relationship. You've seen the clowns on here. They come out they married or because they live with the girl, but they're not legally married. But they think they can get all the benefits. But there is no benefit because the repercussions. they could- oh, you thought once you didn't feel like being bothered, you could just leave and she just change the locks and go on to the next. No, it's
yeah.
not that way.
I mean, that's a big thing of fear. But it's like, I mean, now,
It's a
well,
cop
I know
out.
people, they're down for arrangements. I don't know what's wrong with people, but I would think
One
resentment,
foot in, one foot out.
people would build
That's all it
resentment,
is.
and stuff like that. So I'm gonna
But
end
women
it.
have women have the strength, the control. I don't want to say the control. They have the influence to stop it.
Well, that's why they have the 4B movement.
No, the 4B movement. Stop referring to that because that is going to break and tear everything down.
It will, but the thing is, if we don't have people knowing their purpose, knowing their design, learning how to be respectful to, um, if, like, I think you have a balanced perspective of what a woman is and what her place is in society, and you know what a man is and what his place is and how you move in perspective to that, regardless of the woman. I think you give a general respect to women, but then if they go to the left and disrespect your boundaries or disrespect you as a man, then I know that you try to make her aware of that. But
Hmm.
I think most people, it's their world. They're the main character. You're not. I don't care anything about you, whatever. So I think that's how most people are moving. And
And they're contributing to the failure.
yeah, and it's so hard.
Mhm.
Not I believe that there's certain games that you do play, like, because just to make sure the person is who they are, sometimes you do got to put people through tests. But to play like full out blown games with folks and disrespecting
Mhm.
people is not the way to do it in a
You
lot of.
can't expect people to take accountability or
Mhm,
responsibility for their actions or contribution if
mhm.
they are part of the contribution
Right,
to the mess up.
right, absolutely.
Come on.
You really
There's
you
no
do
way in the
have to
world.
take a step back, and
That's an
that's what I think.
oxymoron.
Yeah, and that's what I think the women
I
should
want,
do. Like, they should take a step back, not blaming the men, but take a step back to reevaluate how you're operating as a woman. You know
what
what
are
I'm
you,
saying?
how you're contributing to it. And
Yes.
men need to stop trying to force women or push on women. They need to be held accountable or responsible. How are you expecting people, male or female, to take accountability when they're contributing to the problem?
Yeah.
You cannot expect someone to take accountability for their wrong action or their action that's contributing to failure when they're the cause of it in the first place. You're not going to get accountability from them.
Right. It's hard, but you have to admit it, and you have to what do they call it? I forgot what it's called. Refrain. You have to refrain from contributing. You know what I'm saying?
How
Like,
you going? How can you expect people to refrain from contributing when they're dead set on not being interdependent?
well, I mean, you have to sit back and learn. You got to take accountability. Like say like me,
How you
if
going
I
to take account?
somebody's wife, or if I want to be better, if I want to lose weight, I can't be out here contributing to big back activity. I have to I have to sit back. I got to learn, like, hey, I got to take a blood test. Oh, you're allergic to this and that, and you need to get on a regimen. So it's like I need to take control of myself, then reinsert myself back into that situation, and then I'll become better.
No,
Why not?
because how many? Let's look at that. Let me examine that real quick. How
Okay.
many women from the 80s till now have gotten their Peloton or bike machine or whatever that became a coat rack? How many women? I'm just saying. How many women have sat around New Year's and say, "I'm
That's
gonna start
human
working
nature.
out," and they did, and
Right,
2, 3 months later, they revert right back to their comfortable behavior. The
right.
reason, like I said, is the discipline. We do not discipline ourselves with consistency.
Mhm.
So for me to look at a woman and say, "Oh yeah, she's working out," yeah, okay. Let me see in 6 months, 8 months, is she still working out? No. Why?
Right.
What happened to that Peloton? What happened to that bike? What happened to all that cute exercise equipment and leotards and stuff? Come on, come
Yeah,
on.
that's true. We do get like that.
We
No.
can look it, but we're not with it. It's like we would have to, in order for this to be effective, I hate to say it, but you would have to watch every Rocky movie all year long to give you the incentive to
Mhm.
want to do it daily.
Yeah, you have to do it daily. I ain't gonna lie, because I mean it's not easy. It's not easy putting a regimen in your life that you just learned or just became aware of. And that's why I
Hmm.
think it was hard for even Kevin Samuels to be accepted from the independent, like really strong women, because they really thought what they were doing was going to yield them the results, but it really wasn't. That was their perspective, but it was really from a man's perspective. He's like, well, no, this is what we want. But so for
How
somebody
many? How many?
to hear that, it's hard. It's like they said, the cognitive dissonance, like this, it's like it's beating up against your belief system that you already established in your mind. But when you actually take the advice, even if the doctor says, hey, you got to stop eating these cupcakes, and you love them daggone cupcakes, but when you do stop and you turn yourself around, you're like, wow, my joints don't ache as much. I'm down 20 pounds. I
Mhm.
feel good. I have a clarity
You
of
look at your arms and they're not flabbing no more. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
you hold on. What do you say? I'm working on my third chin. Okay, but
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
gone.
Exactly. Some of these women are so
You're so
less disciplined or so lazy, they start accepting their third chin.
I know. Oh, Jesus, please, I don't want to be late.
They start accepting it and saying, "This is me. Take me as I am. I accepted me with my three chins and my flabby arm." But
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say it again. What you think, what you feel is all good. Everyone has that right as an individual.
Right.
But don't be upset that the consumers
Hmm.
are not looking at it the same way as you do.
Right. I like it looking at it the same way. That is really nice. That's a
Yeah, the
better.
consumers are saying you got to have a master's to ride this ride. So if you ladies want to walk around with your high school diploma or with your associates and think that y'all going to get the same benefits from these consumers, the ring, the marriage, the stability, the provisions, and the contingency, y'all definitely lying to yourself because men already made a line in the sand of what they don't like. Of certain
So, but
caliber of men,
still,
they already said it.
that is a form of drizzle
No,
because
no, 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 that's not drizzle drizzle at all.
it is because it's saying, okay, you say like, hey, you just said you guys gotta have this master's degree if you want to be over here because this is how we move. It's just like how the woman makes her demands too, because she feels like, hey, my lace front of my eyelashes, I took the time to get ready, so this is what is owed to me, whatever. But I mean, because I did the work, whatever. But you actually did build yourself up to build actual value that will give that woman that resource. So it still can be a drizzle on your part, and it's not necessarily
It's
bad.
not a drizzle. Okay, let me, because I did do some research about it, but I'm not going to include it in my book because it's crap. Um, the drizzle drizzle thing is more about guys putting standards in front of women,
Right.
telling them what kind of woman they want them to be without being the man that they need them to be. That's
Mm.
what the drizzle drizzle is all about.
You
It's like
sure?
these guys, yes,
I
it
don't
is.
think
These
so. I
mental,
don't.
it is. These most of these guys talking these demands and terms and conditions are men that don't see their doctor on a regular basis. They don't have even same dues. These are the same dudes that will move in with you. I'm telling you, quality men don't talk like that. Quality men would just tell you bring peace and cooperation. They're not telling you to bring no dollar amount to the relationship. They're not telling you, oh, you got kids, you barred. They don't talk like that because the
Mhm.
quality men are family oriented. So therefore, whether you got kids or not, they don't have a problem with that. They just want to minimize. Hey, you got five baby daddies. Whoa, that's a little bit, eccentric there. Come on,
I don't
less
know.
liabilities.
Hey, I'm still down with the drizzle. I think I
Drizzle,
like the
drizzle. This is
whole
a new term now.
no, I don't think it's gonna last, but I do think that men are deserving of their standards, in that it's not so much of of a bad thing for them to feel.
Standards is not saying that. Wait a
Hey,
minute. Let me make sure
let
I
me finish
understand
my
what you
thought.
said.
No, I'm
Okay, but I
finishing
want
my
to make sure
thought
I
so I can
understand
wrap
you.
this thing up. I said I think that
Okay.
drizzle is fine because we women, and you know this, try to micromanage everything that a man does and say that he can or cannot do. So women want to say sprinkle, sprinkle, which is this is what I want or whatever. Okay, so the drizzle, drizzle. Okay, well, this is what I do over here. Like you said, I got my pool table. I got everything set up the way I want it. And if you don't like it, well, then okay, bye. So that's my drizzle, drizzle to you, sis. Whatever. No, it's not gonna disrupt anything that's going on over here in
If
Shaftland.
if you're that qualified dude, a woman wants to get on your side on whatever it is that you're moving with. So you wouldn't have to tell her, ask her, nothing like that. A woman that knows her purpose and design is not going to try to come in and say, "Hey, I don't like your drapes. I don't like your couch. I don't like this. I'm gonna come in and change things around." What she's going to do is understand that this is how you are, and I am willing to understand and respect that I'm not here to change you. I'm here to adjust, adapt, and accept you. Peace and cooperation. The same way, vice versa. Men understand that too. Listen, woman, I'm not trying to change you. You got your own goals, but you're also a contribution to make sure that I have what I need to do my job as a man. Peace and cooperation. That's all I need from
Right. Well, I do agree with that. And
you. Mhm.
the
You
more
don't
that
need no PlayStation.
hey,
You don't need to give me an Xbox.
you try to make this day go on for 6 hours, I'm cutting it off right
Oh, I'm
now.
sorry. Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, the more that, like you said, the more that we come into alignment and, we can find somebody that we can get along with and that we actually
Mhm.
like, that we like without the sex or things like that. Enjoy being in their presence. They don't really aggravate me or whatever. I don't really have too many pet peeves. I mean, it's a win-win. It's awesome. And hopefully we can start to realize our purpose and design with one
Mhm.
another, and how that contributes to society and how that contributes to the community, which the community builds our nation in. But as we see that, honestly think they just tried to put it all in the trash, and that's where we are right now. So
Mhm.
the
We
only thing
can
that
we can
we
do. I'm gonna give you a suggestion because you can do a part two to this as well because we didn't talk about the economical side of it and the sexual side of it.
okay,
There's purpose and design when it comes to economic and sexual as well.
yeah,
Purpose and
absolutely.
design. Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
and I think with
yeah.
the more that we can start having the discussions instead of blaming, then we can start
Yes.
moving forward, because that's all I
Yeah.
hear is blaming what the men do. Okay, well, what the women? Well, okay, well, what can we do that's beneficial for each other? Wow, then that just goes into something else. That's great. I want
Yeah.
to be.
More
Let,
excuses. Yep.
yeah, let's put me in the winner's mindset. That's where I want to be. I don't want to
Hmm.
be on a sad Sally, miserable, miseryless company. No, I've never seen any benefit in that, because it
Hmm.
always keeps you in lack. It keeps you in distrust. Like we
Is diverting away from the issue.
right.
That's all it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
Yeah, that's right. Like, tell me, yeah, your feet are ashy, girl. Like, oh yeah, bro, you need to do this. Like, let's
Hmm.
be able to have that dialogue with each other where we can be comfortable in the same spaces and not bash each other. So
Hmm.
I really appreciate you, Carl, for rocking it out with me for the past almost
Absolutely.
2 hours. I know that you're
Absolutely.
a talker and that you can carry a conversation well
I love it.
into the week. But we are gonna in the show tonight. And
I'm here.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
your
It was an
time.
honor. I appreciate it.
And hope you have a great evening. And we'll drop you down. So, people, I really appreciate you coming out and looking at our show, my show tonight, and my beautiful guest called Shaft, and just really thinking about our purpose in design within ourselves and how that's in relation to another man, child, family, community. Hopefully, we'll do a part 2. But thank you for rocking out with us. Have a good night. Peace.